Aloha, y'all. Welcome to my channel. My name is Steph, and I am the Socially Awkward Chef. In today's video, we're going to take this leftover roast chicken that we made in our last video, and we're going to turn it into some chicken stock. So the first thing that I want to do is take this chicken fat. I'm just going to put it to the side, because I am actually going to use it to make some soup out of the stock, and most specifically, I'm going to be making matzo ball soup. This stock is going to be, or can be used for any soup recipe or recipe that requires chicken stock. As you can see, there's not tons here, and that's all. Alright, so next I'm going to actually put on some gloves just because it is going to be a little bit easier to handle. And I'm going to kind of take off as much chicken as I can, and I'm going to reserve it for another dish that we'll talk about later. And then I'm going to remove some meat from the drumsticks and the thighs. As you can see, I have taken as much chicken off of the bone that I wanted, and I've reserved it here. And I'm going to use some of this for our soup later on, and then I'm also going to reserve the rest of that for our third dish that we're going to be making off of this one chicken. But for now, I'm going to put this to the side. And I also want to note that the thigh bones and the drumsticks that I did previously remove to take the meat off of, I chucked them back in here. And we're actually going to take all of this, including this wonderful, gorgeous, it's called fond, and it's all the juices, and the garlic, and the soy that's been cooking in there. And if you did watch our last video, there were also some potatoes and carrots, so there's really awesome flavor in there. So all of this is going to go into a stock pot. We're going to cover it up with some water, and then we're going to set it on the stove, come up to a boil, and then reduce to a simmer. And this is where the patience game kicks in. We've got our chicken in our stock pot and we've got it covered with water. As far as how much to use, the general rule of thumb is to put in enough water to just cover your chicken. So it's floating a little bit, but if I push down, you can see the water is just covering that. And you don't worry about being super exact because you will probably have to add some more water throughout this process because the longer it boils and excuse me, not boils, but cooks and simmers, the better the flavor is going to be. We're also going to add some salt. This is a couple of teaspoons that we're going to add in there. And then we're going to set this on the stove. We're going to bring it to a boil, and then we are going to reduce it to simmer. And once it comes up to boil and we reduce it to simmer, it'll probably need to hang out there for 3 to 4 hours. Again, the waiting game is the way to go with this. So I'm going to put this on the stove, and we'll check back in after 2 hours. See you then. Hey y'all, so it's actually been about 3 hours since I put this on, and at the 2 hour mark, I tasted it, I adjusted the salt because it was still a little bit light, so I encourage you all to taste your stock and adjust as necessary. And because I wanted to reduce it down and get almost a bone broth, and you can see that there's some great color in there, I let it reduce another hour. So that was in total 3 hours, and I did not add any more water to this. So once it cools off and I pull the chicken out, at this point you can feel free to pull what remaining edible bits of chicken you want off of there. There's still a good amount of meat, or you can just throw away the carcass. And this amount of soup, since it's gone down, will probably yield you about 32 ounces of chicken stock, which we will use in our next video. So see you then. Until we eat again, y'all. Aloha.